Welcome to Chicago. Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton. The Raptors getting set to, well, start another six-pack, Sherm. They had 6 games that they just came out of where opponents had a less than 300 winning percentage at the start of it. Now they're going into a 6-game set, all on the road, where opponents have about a 66% winning percentage.
Yeah, the table definitely turns for the Raptors. Having said that, they're a team that I think they grew, even though they were playing teams what, from a record perspective, probably weren't as good as the teams they're going to face. But the reality is they had to go out there and they had to get those W's. You never win on paper. But I do think the challenges are going to be stiffer, starting with Chicago. And I think after Christmas, I think it gets even tougher.
Right.
When you're on the road, West Coast timing, you know, you're traveling to different cities. There's a back-to-back in there, the altitude. There's a lot of things happening that can affect your consistency on the floor. But one thing this team has done, I think, very well is they've been able to lock in. Dwayne Casey's done a great job getting them to focus on the task at hand, not looking too much forward and not looking behind in the moment, and that's why they've been so successful.
Well, they're 9-3 without DeMar DeRozan. We saw him working out pregame. He's working a little bit more. We don't know when he's going to come back, but at the same time, this team has soldiered forward without him. They've done a terrific job. The last time they played this team, the Chicago Bulls, it was an event, a national game on TNT in the U.S., and for the most part, Chicago won that game within, I'd say, a 10-12 minute span in the third quarter. What has Toronto learned when you think about how well they have played the last 5 games in the second half and what they're doing to teams in the third quarter?
Well, I think one thing they've learned is that their defense has to step up, because in the first half they're struggling with consistency on the defensive end, and I'm sure that drives Dwayne Casey crazy. But the reality is, out of the locker room at halftime, they've really come out with the right mindset. They've been aggressive, active hands, active bodies, a lot of chatter and communication out there, and there's a lot of that help, recovery, and the second effort it takes to be a good defensive team on any single possession. And having said that, I really think that Chicago game, they struggled in that third quarter offensively. They didn't get good flow, and that's Chicago's kind of basketball. They're aggressive, they're going to be physical, they're going to try and grind you and wear you down. I think they've learned from that. They've been able to do that to some teams. So it's going to be interesting to find a team that is as tough, that knows how to play defense, that's their pride, that's their trademark, and see if they can step up to that challenge.
Let's face it, Sherm, this is a measuring stick for Toronto. After the 6 games that, as you said, they checked off record-wise, they defeated those teams. They're going into a stretch where they play 6 tougher teams. A lot of people are saying, well, there you are, you know, 14-1, 15-1 against teams under 500. Let's see what you have against the big boys now, and it starts with Chicago, a team that, let's face it, at this point, you're looking at them as one of the top teams in the East, still up there with Cleveland, and a team that has that playoff experience.
Oh, no question about it, and they're not healthy. I mean, this is a team that's done what they've done, and they haven't been 100% healthy. And I really think that when you're talking about tests, you want to be tested by the best.
Yes.
And you look at Chicago, and you know at the end of the season, they're going to be in the mix as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And for the Raptors, they've established themselves and said, hey, to everybody in the league, listen, we're trying to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference as well. Forget about what you know. Forget about the history. In this moment, this is what we're trying to do. So I think that the challenge is great. It's really going to test them on a lot of levels. And without a DeMar DeRozan, it's really going to bring guys out. And I think that this team has bought in on all levels. The second unit has been great, and I think that's allowed them to be confident throughout the course of a game, knowing that, hey, our starters aren't in there, our second unit's in there, they're going to get the job done as well, and they finish games that way. But I think, like you said, Jonesy, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, you're going to find out what you're made of.
The interesting thing right now with these two teams, in the last 6 games, neither team has held serve at home. Chicago's won the last 3 in Toronto. The Raptors have won the last 3 in Chicago. Let's see what happens in the next matchup. You can watch it. Sportsnet 1 at 8 o'clock Eastern, and hear it on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, also at 8 Eastern.